Hello. So I showed you the look at that. Isn't that cool? And then of course the sparkly thread, it just makes it even cooler. And the green embroidery, it's just, I love how that looks. I like couching, it's so cool. Another thing I wanted to show you was the bobbin work. With bobbin work, it doesn't work with something as heavy as the yarn. The yarn is too heavy, but with something like this, this is number 8 crown pearl cotton. This is cotton. This is too big to go through the needle. A thread that is too big to go through the needle, but is like really nice. You want to put it through the bobbin, and you can still use it and get a cool effect. How you will wind this is you will wind it by hand. You can still put it on the winder if you want, but you will feed it by hand. This does not go in the normal bobbin case. You need another bobbin case. Usually it's better to do a second bobbin case because you have to adjust the bobbin tension for this. And then of course if you have to change it back for normal threads. That's kind of a pain in the butt. So it's just easier to get a second bobbin. Viking in this case has a second bobbin that's already set for bobbin work. A lot of companies have that now. I know Brother does, Janome does, I think Bernina does too. I think most companies now have a bobbin work bobbin. So in this case it's this white bobbin. And the bobbin tension is set like the screw. This is the, you can see it, there's a screw way down in there. That's the bobbin tension screw, because the bobbin comes through and there's like a little spring here. That screw tells it how much is squishing here. And in the case of the bobbin work, it's like wide open. And if you use a really heavy thread, you bypass it completely. So you put your bobbin work thread, bobbin work case in, put that in, put your bobbin that has your heavy thread on, the thread wants to go everywhere. It's the same normal way, right? It's this letter P. I'm going to pull up. Pull up this thread, make sure it's turning easily. Sometimes if it's a very heavy thread, you will bypass the bobbin tension completely and just let it pull up with no bobbin tension. And the last thing you do, you know, put your decorative foot on again. Then stitch upside down. What stitches do you use for bobbin work? And the answer is something open and airy, so like a stitch like this looks good with bobbin work. These crazy quilt stitches look good with bobbin work. These stitches that are satin stitches do not look good with bobbin work. Don't do that. You want something open and airy because the thread is very heavy. You even might want to elongate it a little bit. The thread is very heavy and you need to be able to see the thread and not overwhelm it and not get it like tied up under your foot or something. So you're upside down. So let's just do that. Row 1 and let's stitch 22. And let's stitch it all the way out to 7. Let's do it nice and wide. Some of the, turn the fix off. that was that one. Let's pull it back a little ways. Another thing is that you want to match the top thread, which is now, of course, the bobbin thread. Because otherwise what can happen is this thread gets pulled to the back. This top thread, because the other thread is so heavy, this gets pulled to the back and it will show up. So you want it to match. Let's do another one. Let's see what this looks like. You will not use your thread cutter with this. There's a second one. Let's do a third. Let's do a third one. Oh, what's another good one to choose? So, how does that look? See, the honeycomb stitch looks way bigger. And of course the stitch density is all different. But it looks like a totally different stitch with the bobbin work. See this? This looks way heavy. That almost looks like regular embroidery. So you'll have to like kind of play with that a little bit. And since it got pulled, it kind of puckered it out. This stitch looks like hand embroidery. Look at that. Flowers. So that's bobbin work. And then another thing people do is they do bobbin work to do freehand embroidery, free motion work, to get a really cool effect. Yeah, I've got a lot of threads, so you have to make sure you don't have anything tangling out there. So what would be another cool one? Bobbin work is such a cool thing to do. Oh, 24. No, I don't want 24. Sometimes it's good to lengthen the stitches too. So you get maximum effect, because you don't want it to be too close together. So if you're doing bobbin work, just go ahead and really stretch out and let the elongation work. So that's the normal stitch. You can see. That's the normal stitch. And the bobbin work. Look how nice and heavy that is. That looks like cross stitch. Right? It's like really cool cross stitch. That is bobbin work. I mean, just the normal stitch looks really cool, right? Just the normal stitch looks cool. But then if you do the bobbin work with the crown rayon, just think of that like on a Celtic dance costume on a cuff. That is just so cool. If you did like a couple of rows of that, imagine doing that by hand on a cross stitch versus that. Come on, you know you want to do it now. You're all looking at watching my videos of me doing this, and now you're going to be all hooked. So I haven't tried every single one of my stitches with bobbin work because I usually never get time to like really explore this. Oh, this is smocking stitch. Let's try this one. Let's do 42. Like that. Look at that. That was because I had all this excess at the beginning. So that's an operator error. Look at that. That's the smocking stitch. On the back you can see what the stitch normally looks like. It's kind of wide and airy. That's the smocking stitch. On the front, where it is now the bobbin work stitch, look how heavy that is and cool. That is way cool. Look at that. So that is bobbin work, and you can do it with the number 10 crown rayon or pearl cotton. This is with pearl cotton. This is a number 8, and 8 is getting to the limit where you maybe should put it without the bobbin tension, but you can still pull it pretty easily, but maybe you can bypass it completely. This lighter one is really cool. I don't have one to show it, but you can, this almost looks like just the regular stitch. So, okay, I can show you though this bobbin. So, you do it the normal way for winding a bobbin. Through the little hole. But you're going to wind it by hand yourself. So you're going to hold it yourself and give it the tension. This is I think a number 10 or number 12. I can't remember because I lost the sticker. This one looks a little bit different. This one you can do, because it's a little bit finer, you can do some of the finer threads with it. But I need to get a more matching color, and we can do something. It's going to be red and pink, but it's still something. Because pink I have down. I have that pink, and then I have this red. If you have this kind of thread, you should really use it. It works better on a thread stand, which mine is somewhere around here. For bobbin work, it's just the normal threading procedure. There's nothing fancy about the threading for bobbin work. like an old school machine, you want to bring it up. That long tail is good because you have to pull it yourself back to the end and tie it in the knot when you're done. Now, going from the back side. So this one, because it's a little bit lighter weight, we can do maybe some of these stitches, like stitch 34 will probably work. This stitch might work with it, or this heart might work with it. Let's try the heart. Well, no, because that has like a satin stitch in the middle. Don't want anything with a satin stitch. But stitch 39 will work. 29. Let's do another kind of funny one. Oh, let's do stitch 20. Make sure I don't have any tapering. This is a tapering stitch, so maybe make sure I have the tapering turned off. Press the stop button so it'll stop the end of the pattern. It's always good to sew a couple of repeats. That's what that looks like. The bobbin work. Look how cute those flowers are, nice and heavy. And look how that looks. If I'd had a matching pink instead of the red, it would look even better. See how much lighter though it is compared to this. This is a number 8 thread. This green is a number 8, and this is like a number 12 or something. This is right on the limit of almost being able to go through the needle. But you see the top needle thread comes to the back and like pins it on the surface. But it does come to the back because the thread is just that heavy. But see, look at that. It's so much heavier. You can see it definitely is a decorative stitch on something, and it will stand out because it is so heavy. So there's that yarn couching with the 7-hole yarn foot with that pretty red, you know, and then bobbin work. And bobbin work can also be used in free motion work. You just have to make sure that you do it upside down. I've done that before. I've done like free motion embroidery to make designs. But isn't that cool? So just remember, you have to have the separate bobbin that you've really loosened the bobbin tension so that it can, this heavy thread can flow easily, and then you're stitching upside down. You don't do anything to the top tension, and then you would ideally want the top thread and the bobbin thread to match, and that's all you got to do.